Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Now, listen and listen to me very well. We happen to be having our cost of capital. I can put it here. Cost of capital, what we call the famous COC. So COC, in this case here is 10%. COC is 10% like that. Now, if, for example, you want to get net present value, how will we get net present value? I know what most of us will do, like what we used to do in classroom, I know what most of us would do here. So in the classroom, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we used to do. We used to calculate here, because these cash flows are fluctuating. We used to calculate what we call PVIF. Present value interest factor. So PVIF, remember the formula of PVIF. If you remember the formula of PVIF, you can talk of 1 all over 1 plus R raised to power n, PVIF, right? So I could come here, ladies and gentlemen, and talk over, in this case, I would want to get 1. You say divide by, very interesting thing. Divide by, we open brackets here, we say 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus, so 1 plus R. The R is the cost of capital, right? So this is very interesting, 10%. So then I'll be able, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, to do what? To close brackets. And then I raise this to power what here? To power 1. But now I can't write 1 there directly. Why? Because I would want to slide this thing across. I would want to borrow this formula and use it across. So I would want to come and use this 1 there, right? Raised to power 1 like that. And then I'll be able to say enter. So when I say enter, I'm able to get this PVIF. But the question is, can I now come and copy this formula across? It cannot be correct. Why can't it be correct? Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I've taught those students of mine that, especially who are in my data analytics class for so long. Remember when I come and say F2 here, this cell C2 cost of capital is a constant parameter which will be used throughout, this cell C2. So then I need to come here under cell C2 here. And of course, in this case here, use what here? Use F4 like that to put the dollars there, if you remember. So once I put the dollars there, then I'll be able to come and slide nicely with this thing. Like that. So then I've been able to get what we call present value interest, what here? Present value interest factors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, come here. This one I can easily take. I know that cash flow at year 1 is not year 1. Cash flow at time 0 is today. Today is time 0. So we don't discount. A shilling today is exactly worth what year? Worth 1. So no worries. I could have even used this formula right away from here. Right. So I'll have that one as 1 there. So when I come here, I'll be able to say present value. I'll be able to say present values. So how do I get my present values? Very easy to get my present values. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'll do is to come and say equals. I pick this figure that is here, times, I say 1. There is nothing to be locked there. So then I'll be able to come and copy this across. like that. All right. So once I copy like that, I'll be able to come, ladies and gentlemen, at the corner here and get the total. The total now will be the net present value. So to get the net present value, I'll come and say Alt equals. When I say Alt equals, I'm able to get my net present value there, which is negative 144.417. The project is not viable, of course. And if you remember very well, ladies and gentlemen, I taught you a method that you could make use of to get net present value directly. You can come and say net present value here. How do we get this net present value formula? We'll say equals, right? Equals, in Excel, we have net present value, NPV. I can see it is here, so I just need to click on it, and then I bring it to the cell. So then it is asking me the rate. So the rate there is 10%, and then I'll be able to say what here? Values now, values. So the values, I know the mistake that so many students will do. You'll get students here when it comes to the cash flow values, they'll come and copy everything from time 0. from time zero. And then in this case here, they copy like that. And then smilingly, they say enter. When they say enter, look at the net present value they're getting. It's different from this one. What is the problem here? The problem, ladies and gentlemen, if I come back and say equals, I start this thing with the NPV, I say tab there. So the rate, listen here. After I say the rate, I'll say comma, I'm following this one here. I will come and say comma. They want me to start giving them from value 1, not from value at time 0. So value 1 is here. So I need to start copying from here. So I copy across like that. All right. And then I close brackets like that. After that, I'll come and say minus the initial outlay. Unfortunately, the initial outlay is already a negative. So I need to come and say plus the initial outlay here, which is what there, 500, minus 500. And then I'll be able to say enter. When I say enter like that, I'm able to get my net present what here, my net present value as negative 140, of course it's in brackets negative 144.42 because of rounding off error. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I would want in this case here to come and calculate what we call IRR, internal rate of return. If you can remember from your section 5, I'm so sure, even the ones who are saying they are members of ISPAC, I'm so sure most of them must have passed through my hands. And I'm so sure you are able to remember what we said about internal rate of return. This is that rate of return that will yield a 0 net present value. Internal rate of return is the break-even rate of return. So how do I get IRR? It's very easy. I'll come and give them here IRR. I'll say equals. Excel has got everything. IRR. It is already here blue. So I just need to click on it. I need to click on it. So I have IRR. And then it wants me to give it values. So see now here, they're not telling us value 1, value 2. So here you have to provide all the values. So you come to your cash flows here, and then you highlight them. How do you highlight this easily? You say Control Shift, right arrow. So after that, I can choose to close brackets, or I just decide not to choose, not to do that. So I can see my IRR is negative 2%, right? So I need to come and increase the decimal places. Just to be exact, I need to increase the decimal places, like even to 4 decimal places like that. Now, assuming, ladies and gentlemen, assuming in this case here, I use this particular IRR here in the cost of capital. Will I be able to get this net present value being equal to 0? Let me try. Let me come and put this. I say equals, and then I pick this IRR like that. And then I say enter. You can see straight away the net present value is what there is 0. IRR is the break-even rate of return. It is that rate of return at which a project's net present value will be 0. At which a project's net present value will be 0. So I would want to give you guys 1 minute. You try doing whatever you have seen me doing there. Just try doing it at your, take like 5 minutes. Try doing exactly what I have done. I'll be so happy if you guys can do what I've done. And then I'll give you a chance to share your screen and use your own cash flows. Use your own cash. You don't have to use my cash flows. Use your own cash flows. I would want to see whether there is even a single student who will be able to do this. And then now I'll be able to show you after these 5 minutes are over, at exactly say 8:00, I'll be able to show you something that is very important, which will increase your value as an accountant at your workplace. Most of the times we keep on saying CPA does not pay. CPA does not do this and this, and yet it is our skills which are wanting. So from today, you'll tell me, you'll see a very big difference. I would want to see whether, first of all, there is anybody who will be able to do exactly that. And please remember, as you do your own practice, this is Dr. Joshua Aura. I teach data analytics virtually, and I would really request you guys to be my students, of data analytics. We charge 8,000 Kenya shillings. And this data analytics transcends CASNEP. Don't do it for the sake of the exam. Even if you are a member of ISPAC, I would want you to register for data analytics. Anytime you get a business analyst, a data analyst, somebody who is able to inform a decision through data analysis, you will be paid very well. You'll be paid very well. And of course, our phone number is 0719 0719 525 1000. 0719 525 1000.